fellow crafty souls. Hi, welcome to my channel, and this is my first ever unboxing, unbagging if you like. So yay, it's delivery day. This is all non-paid content. I pay for everything myself. I have to kind of not hide, deny is the word. My purchases. Just kidding. No, so I saw some supplies from Spellbinders went on sale at one of my favorite crafty stores, and I had to jump on and order it because this particular release had become very popular. I think Jennifer Maguire and a couple other people featured some of these products in their releases, and they sold out very quickly. So obviously I live in Australia and I have very limited access to how much stock is actually available. So when I see it, I have to jump on it and buy it. So you'll get to hear all the beautiful wildlife chirping outside. It's a glorious rainy day here in sunny Cairns. All right, so I love this was a really quick delivery. I ordered it last Wednesday, and today is Monday, and it has arrived. So I am very happy. It came on my day off, so I can play with it. Beautifully packaged, fast delivery. It's the reason one of the companies I actually really enjoy buying from. Ooh, look at all the pretties. So to start with, get rid of this. Alright, so my first toy off the rank. Now with all of my dies and stamps that I get, I have no rhyme or reason in my storage other than stamps get stored with stamps and dies get stored with dies get stored with dies. I did try and organize it, and it becomes a very unorganized mess very, very quickly. So this was the 4-petal release from Spellbinders, I believe, that just came out recently. So first off, I got the 4-petal labels dies. So this is 10 different frames and cutting out different shapes. So, and I love the Spellbinders dies and the fact that they're gold and they're just that little bit different. So we've got the 10 different dies here, as you can see. And yes, I can't wait to create some beautiful shapes with this. So the next one I've got is the scrolled punch and pierce plate. So this is one cutting die, and you can see it has the piercing dots and it has the cutting edges, so it'll cut out the middle section, and then the very middle section, then the second section, and then the third section it'll cut out. And these all cut out, this die will cut out to an A4, US A2 card size, which is 5.5 by 4.25 inches. So excited I can barely speak. Ooh, yay! So the next thing I got was some hot foil plate and die sentiments. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sentiments. So the beauty. And it actually cuts out, so it foils all of the sentiments in one hit, and then it has the one die cut, so it then die cuts all the sentiments out in one hit as well. So sweet, I can do like a couple of these, foil a couple of these on sentiment sheets, and I've got sentiments for days. I love this. It makes life so much easier. So what have we got? Touched beyond words, birthday wishes, sending health and happiness, congrats, you're pretty amazing, hello lovely, many thanks, and thanks for making me smile. I like to make a lot of encouragement cards, birthday cards, and just some sending love cards. So yep, this is definitely well within my wheelhouse, and hopefully it's all in frame. Excuse me. All right, I love. So love, love, love the cutting dies. So next we've got the 4 Petal Bloom Reflection dies. So it's a grand total of 9 dies. And you can see here it has the large flower, and then to do all the individual little flowers. I cannot wait. I was inspired by some of the cards that Jennifer Maguire made. And yeah, this release became a big one on my want list. And last but not least is the 4 Petal Thank You Floral die. So I love the Spellbinders floral dies. I've got the Bee Bold Blooms and the paintbrush sets. So I like doing the die cutting and then piecing them together. It becomes very hypnotic almost. And you can just sit and you can do mindfulness while you're actually doing these sorts of cutting out and piecing together. So you can make some beautiful coloured flowers, and then you've got the thank you word die there. Oh, cannot wait to create with this set. So I am getting some ideas already. Obviously, you've got your information, your inspiration on the fronts of your packaging designs. So if you're stuck with ideas to start with, they do provide some awesome inspiration. So I'm having a look at this design here, and I'm just thinking, is there probably some matching dies in here that could be used to cut out? So I'm thinking, you know, to potentially layer up, cut out some additional frames to bulk up behind and create dimension behind this using the frame dies. So thank you for joining me for my little unpackaging, unboxing, if you like. I'm going to go away and come up with a card design. Now I'm tossing up whether I do one card. Let's start with one. I won't be too overly ambitious today, but yeah, I cannot wait to create this. So many ideas already running through my head, so I'll start with one. All right, thanks for joining me. See you shortly. So I'm back with my card idea, and I've decided to use the Spellbinders, the hot foil plate and die set in the Making Me Smile sentiments. Beautiful multi-sentiment set. And I'm going to be hot foiling those in the Glimmer Hot Foil in Aura. And I just love all that glitter and all that shine and sparkle going on there. And just using some basic white cardstock. As long as it's smooth, it should foil beautifully. Now I've decided I'm going to go with the Scrolled Punch and Pierce plate cutting die. And having a look at it, it looks like it cuts into many layers. And I was not sure if the individual layers were going to be cut out, so I did show you the Essential 4 Petal Labels die set, but I didn't end up needing to use those. So the game plan was for me to actually cut hopefully the 3 different layers and then prop them up. So we'll start off by doing some hot foiling, just taking those foil, the sentiments and the cutting dies off the vellum that came in the packaging, and I'm just going to get my hot foil machine heated up. And just liking to cut that foil so it's about the size of the sentiment, so there's not too much overfoiling going on. Don't like to waste foil. It's so pretty. Look at all that shimmer. Comes up beautiful on camera. And when you're doing the foiling, just deciding whether you wanted to have the lines of the shimmer run through horizontally or vertically. So now I'm going to pop my hot foil sentiment plate straight onto the hot plate of my foil machine. And then, as everyone says, we're going to make sure that's the pretty side of the sentiment of the hot foil plate, and just because I like to fiddle around, and then I'm going to make sure that the pretty side of the foil kisses the pretty side of the hot foil plate. So upside down, and then just placing my smooth cardstock on top. So once that's all in place, I'll just shut the lid on my Go Press and Foil machine and wait for that red light to stop flashing, and once it's green I can then run it through my die cut machine. So give it a minute or 3, and while I was waiting for that to heat up, I was having some thought processes around how did that hot foil sentiment of hello lovely get into the center of the die cut plate. Being that it's the center of a die, and that's a whole lot of foil plate sentiments all in one go. So yeah, I was trying to figure it out, and it didn't look like it had been cut out. So I did eventually figure it out. It takes a lot of finagling. So now that the hot foil is all fully heated, I'm going to pop that through my die cut machine, and I'm just using my Crafter's Choice die cut machine. Run it through nice and slowly a couple of times. And one thing I learnt for myself today is not to hang on to the handle and then run the hot foil plate through, because you will get your finger jammed between the handle and the machine. You could not have imagined the swearing that happened with that one. Anyway, I've run that through a couple of times now, and just getting ready to take my sentiments off the hot foil plate. So take that off, and then just because I don't have hands made of asbestos, I've got a picky uppy tool that's magnetic from Spellbinders, and that will just grab onto the hot plate, and I'll pop that on just to a little silicon plate, silicon like hot, I don't know, something next to me. It's silicon and it lets it to cool, and then just use the brown button on top just to release the magnet. Now it's time for the peel and reveal of the beautiful foil. Just my little container where I keep my leftover foil bits to use at a later date. So I have a little bit of overfoiling in the letters, and just handy to use a rubber just to get that those letters defined. Give them a quick cleanup. I've also got the Couture Creations detailer tool, which I can use to clean that foil up. So once I'm happy with that, I'll go through and die cut all of the sentiments out, making sure I get it around the right way. And because all the sentiments cut out all in one hit, just making sure that I stick that down, because I've learnt the hard way, if I don't stick it all down, it shifts and you miscut some of your sentiments. So once that's all cut through, just tease those out of the cardboard, and then I have a handful of sentiments left over ready for other cards to make. So just going through, and I open all of my packets at the top because the bottom of the packets do tend to get a bit sticky, and I find that I can store my bits and pieces in the packets that they came in. I'm loving this new die set, and having a look at it, looks like it cuts it out in 3 different layers. So I've chosen 3 different cardstocks, holographic and then the 2 blues. So once I've cut all 3 lots of these cardboard out, I should have enough to make 3 different cards. That's the beauty of this die set. So making sure that I'm running it through a few times to get the cutout and the piercing pattern. And because the holographic cardstock is a little bit thicker, I would have been better off using a little shim to run that through. So now just trialing it with the blue cardstocks, which are a little bit thinner than the holographic. And I should have run that one through a few more extra times. So as you can see, it does cut it apart, but you do need that little bit of an extra shim, just for that added pressure to get all of the details cut out. So I ended up putting in my metal shim adapter and running the cardstock through again. So this is now the darker blue cardstock. So just running it through, and I'll run it through a couple of times just to make sure that it's all getting cut out properly. You can see here all 3 layers have cut out properly, and there's a lot of pokey details to come out. 3 hours later, that's about where I realized that I needed those little round brush tools to actually get all the fine detail out. So here I am just cutting out the holographic cardstock around the 3 different frames just to get it out. So I did previously run it through the die machine another couple of times, but it didn't quite cut all the way through because it is just that little bit thicker. That's okay. I went through and just used my craft knife to cut it out, and I left all of the fine little details in, all the little, see where all the holes are? I left all the bits from the holes in the silver frame. So here I am just trying to figure out the combo of how to put the 3 frames together. And as you can see, I've now got stock there to make, the supplies there to make 3 cards. Now I wanted that white sentiment to match the cardstock, so I used some Mermaid Lagoon ink and distress ink, and I'm just going to use my blender brush and brush that over the sentiment, and that gold foil will actually resist the ink, which is handy. So I was able to color coordinate the ink. So just sticking that silver layer on, and I love it. It looks like a picture frame. Stick that on the front of the card. Being careful not to poke any of the fine details out. I wanted those all left on the card. Just going around. Sticking that down. So this die will actually fit onto the front of a US A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Fits the front perfectly. So there's plenty of decoration options. I'm just sticking my die cut machine down on top of that just to ensure that it sticks to the front of the card. And here I am awkwardly applying some foam tape to my middle frame that I wanted to pop up. And I will realize eventually that I do need extra foam tape on this frame to pop it up so it doesn't actually have any saggy bits. But for now I'm just playing with it and trying to decide what to do. Making sure that it's all nice and neat. Making sure all my front frame has stuck down to the front of the cardstock. Making sure my desk is tidy because I tend to smear. And here's where I figure it out. So I'm very awkwardly cutting out more foam tape because awkward is just how I roll. So cutting out really thin strips. There are products available which I don't have any of, so I am left here to awkwardly cut. So it's placing all those foam strips down, and I had to cut them down thin so that you couldn't see them through the holes in the actual frame itself. Peeling off the backing tape, off the foam tape, and sticking this frame down. I also like to pop on a little bit of glue onto my foam tape just to ensure that I've got a little bit of wiggle room, because you know you have that tendency to stick it in the wrong spot. So got that on, and look at that beautiful dimension. So I decided to stick the third frame into the card so it went down, up, down basically, with the layout of the 3 different frames, sticking that into the middle, and then I'm going to stick stick the sentiment into the middle and just kind of tuck it into that upper second frame. And there we have a beautiful simple card, and I'm just using my tonic aqua shimmer pen, just trying to get it to work, and going to make that dark blue layer just that little bit of nice blue, nice and shiny, and just playing with it there to get it all out. Sometimes you need to give it a few good squeezes just to ensure that the glitter comes out and allows that gloss to come out as well. Okay, so now that that's all done, I'm all happy with that, and popping on my social stamp and my handmade stamp on the back, and I'll write my details there. And you can see there's some light blue smudges on the back of that card, so what I decided to do was just grab a little solid heart, which I grabbed from the Concord and 9th stamp set, and I'm just decorating over the smudges where I actually had the ink smeared. And I like to hand sign all of the backs of all of my cards, and I'm just using my tonic aqua shimmer pen again just to add some shimmer to those hearts. And that just helps the ink to blend a little bit better. And now you could never tell that I'd actually smeared some ink on the back of my card. And that's the finished product. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really appreciate your time.